dirty. He sure has.
Hey, look at Fred.
Poor little fellow.
Oh, boy. Now we're 43 minutes to hold.
I wonder if things have changed there.
Not as much as they're going to, I'll bet.
Still going to try to get me a farm.
Give me my pay and my shivers, I'll find something.
I can't decide whether to go through to a lawyer or a doctor.
Ah, quit clowning. He's going to stay with his ship.
Hey, Taylor. Why don't you ask the welfare officer to give you a 3-month course of being admiral?
A man coming back from the fighting front wants to know just how he's going to fit into civil life. On paper, the plan looks good. Experts in Veterans Affairs have long been preparing against the day when thousands of servicemen come home. Since 1941, when the Rehabilitation Act was passed, Canada has led the Allied nations in enacting post-war assistance for veterans. These benefits are the result of a firm belief that solid groundwork today will make for a happier economy later on. And this plan is working out in action right now. It all starts when a man signs out of the service. As soon as a repat leaves the discharge depot, he gets a month's pay for himself and allowances for his wife and family, a grant for clothing to outfit him for civilian life, and a bonus and credit which may run as high as $2,000. He gets a rail pass to his home or his point of enlistment. He takes his certificate of honorable discharge from His Majesty's service and the War Services badge, which identifies him as one who deserves well of his country. The service bids him goodbye. He closes the door on his Army life, and for a moment he pauses to face a changed and unknown world that needs its own kind of courage. But no veteran need ever grope his way toward a place in civil life. For him, the path has been cleared. At key National Selective Service offices throughout the country, he can talk man-to-man with a welfare officer of the Department of Pensions and National Health. These men are veterans. They understand the veteran's viewpoint. They know that after years of battle, what a man wants is to get back to work. That work will be his. Bill Mitchell left a peacetime job to enlist. He can have it back, and with seniority. If he wants a job where any government contract has been assigned, he gets preference. Bill's unemployment insurance has been paid for him while he was in active service. And if he wants a new job to use the skill he has gained in the Army, Navy, or Air Force, the placement officer finds it for him. Red tape? Certainly not. It's the planned return to civilian life. The forms and papers are just the machinery necessary to give every veteran a chance to feel at home, to meet again the friends he knew in peacetime.
Hiya, boy. Hiya, fella.
And to get his hands into solid and constructive work. And as the factories of an expanding nation begin the great changeover to peacetime work, our smoke-filled skies echo to the tasks of reconstruction. Toughened soldiers have seen through the roar of battle the vision of a better Canada beyond the war. A young country on the march needs the energies and devotion of all her fighting men and women. For full employment, jobs all round, is the post-war goal of every government.
Vocational training under grants too. What have work benefits paid to Albert Paquette for possible...
If the veteran needs more detailed help in finding the right kind of job, local rehabilitation boards, set up in every large center in Canada, give him counsel and advice. Their job is to review personally the application of every veteran for special assistance and to see that he gets the help he's entitled to. Civil service preference is guaranteed by law to every ex-serviceman. Leading seaman Fred Smith, home from Atlantic convoy duty, gets a job with the Federal District Commission. Gunner Ed Jones, who fought in France, goes to work in the Postal Services. Air Observer Ronald McLean of the RCAF has opened a new store. He gets an allowance for his wife and family while awaiting returns from the new business. But the shortest cut to a job is a skill. Every man and woman can get free training up to a period of 1 year and a living allowance for all dependents. Canada expects to train 250,000 veterans. Technical and trade schools can help many, but others can be apprenticed right in the plant itself. To the physically disabled, Canada owes a special debt. In addition to pensions, disabled veterans receive free medical and surgical treatment. Health centers are being established across the country to give to twisted nerves and muscles a new strength. Above all, the plan trains these men to fit into productive civilian jobs as skilled workers, many of them employed in the new professions of electronics, plastics, and television. And for the man whose education has been interrupted by the war, the plan provides tuition, month for month against his service record, and supports his family while he studies for his degree. Many veterans want to go on the land. Under the Veterans Land Act, plans are ready to settle up to 100,000 farm boys on carefully selected land as full-time farmers. Men like Phil Brown can get financing up to $6,000 and repay part of it at low interest rates over a 25-year period. And in line with the new trend toward healthier living, Airman Bill Cross gets a loan and a substantial grant to settle on a small holding close to his job and industry. Commercial fishing appeals to a lot of men like Ed Ryan and Stan Litvak. If a vet wants to fish on either coast or the Great Lakes, he can get help in purchasing his boat and tackle and a loan and grant to operate a small farm near the fishing grounds where he works. Behind this planned rehabilitation lies the rousing welcome of a nation of brothers and friends. Canadians with a warm desire to welcome back and speedily resettle the men who have fought in the front line of battle. Soldiers' Return challenges all of us to carry out this great program with eagerness and warmth, to say to the men and women who have come back from the wars, welcome, soldier, the mat's out. This is home.
This group of servicemen and women and civilian workers has just seen the film Welcome Soldier. Now they are going to discuss the questions it raises. The chairman is John Buckley, labor representative on the Ontario Social Security and Rehabilitation Committee.
Well, the picture you have just seen gives you some idea what the country is doing for the servicemen and women. It shows the opportunities they have for jobs, as well as vocational or university training, or starting in a business, or getting a farm or a small holding.
These things are fine, but some of us are wondering what's going to happen when we get our start. Will there be steady work for us?
There's one thing that's certain. We believe that the men and women in the armed services deserve the best that our country can give them. But remember, many workers in our war industries are in the same spot as they are. We'll be looking for a job after the war, too.
It's a matter of jobs for all who need work. Not only the men in industry and the men in the forces, but the women, too.
And it's not just any job, it's what kind of a job. Almost all of us have learned to use some kind of machinery in the forces, as pilots or ground mechanics. In the Army, they have big guns and tanks and radio. So a lot of us feel that we can learn a new trade for civilian life, too.
Well, if you want to learn a new skill, you can get vocational training as a grant as well.
You're coming back to a new Canada. A Canada that has developed a lot during the war, that can make use of all your experience and skills.
Already, the Dominion Department of Labor is making a survey of what products can be made after the war and the employment that can be expected. Also, the Honorable C.D. Howe, the new Minister of Reconstruction, has recently said that it is the task of his department to provide 1 million new jobs.
That is the key to the whole situation, of course. Full employment. The soldier is well taken care of. He has his old job to go back to. But what about the rest of us?
Don't forget that you civilians are now in on the ground floor. While we were away, you have been working yourselves into soft jobs.
The jobs have not been so soft. Many phony stories have reached the forces about the easy jobs and high wages that prevail at home. We have worked long hours. Wages and jobs have been frozen. And don't forget that by maintaining working conditions, the unions have been working for the benefit of the soldier as well as their own membership. You will have better conditions to come back to.
We know that, and we're proud of your production record. Getting a job is not the only factor to be considered in a soldier's rehabilitation. It is important, but remember, many people in the services have been away from home for a long time. They have been living a different life, and it is going to take time for them to readjust themselves to civilian life. You people in industry can help tremendously by being patient and friendly. Soldiers don't want charity. They want sincere friendliness.
The important thing is this: the interest of the serviceman and the civilian worker are the same. We all want jobs and a chance to make a living after the war.
Under better conditions than before the war, remember. Otherwise, what have we been fighting for?
Right. But if one lot of us, either the returning vets or the civilian workers, are thrown out of employment to make jobs for the others, then you don't get anywhere.
Right. Well, obviously, there must be jobs for all, and we know now that there can be. If a large section of a community is out of work, then even those that are working don't get a decent standard.
Well, these are some of the issues, both in the minds of the veterans and those of the workers. In this discussion, we haven't tried to answer the questions. We've just raised them so that you can discuss them more fully and other points too. The more you can understand them, the better able are you to solve the problems that will arise when the veterans return.
Poor little fellow.
Oh, boy, now we're 43 minutes to hold.
I wonder if things have changed there.
Not as much as they're going to, I'll bet. Still going to try to get me a farm.
You see my pay and my civils, I'll contact you.
I can't decide whether to go through to a lawyer or a doctor.
Good. Experts in Veterans Affairs have long been preparing against the day when thousands of servicemen come home. Since 1941, when the Rehabilitation Act was passed, Canada has led the Allied nations in enacting post-war assistance for veterans. These benefits are the result of a firm belief that solid groundwork today.
Quick clown. He's going to stay with his ship.
Hey, sailor, why don't you ask the welfare officer to give you a 3-month course of being admiral?
A man coming back from the fighting front wants to know just how he's going to fit into civil life. On paper, the plan looks good.